If you're having trouble maneuvering through life, if you're having trouble dealing with people, you're going to want to watch this video, because I'm going to share with you some information that is vitally important to you being able to maneuver in today's world. I want to get this off the top also, get this out of the way. I'm not here to sell you anything. What I'm here to do is to help enlighten you so you can make your life better. For whatever you picture that life being, if it's a better lifestyle, if being able to decide for yourself without having other people make decisions for you. And some of the times people are making decisions for you and you don't even consciously know it, because you're just doing what other people told you to do. You're so used to doing it, you don't even understand that you're not even consciously making decisions for your life. Now, I understand that there's a lot of stuff out there. There's people that are telling you all of these different things, and it's got your mind probably scrambled up and going in a million different directions. But we as human beings have the power from within us to make the change. And when you make the change inside, it's going to allow you to see and things to materialize on the outside. So whatever you want for yourself, whatever you want for your family, you can have it. I'm here to tell you, you can have it. So in today's video, what I want to talk about is putting people into boxes. And I'm going to share with you why the same reason why you put people into boxes is the same reasons why you are failing in life or failing in your business. So now, let me tell you a quick story. My wife and I were driving in the car. We had to take her for her 6-month checkup. My wife had a double lung transplant more than 4 years ago, and it's her 4-year anniversary for it. She's doing terrific. Now, we driving back home in our Rolls Royce, very nice, comfortable car. And we were having this conversation. My wife and I always had these back and forth conversations. And something came up to where she was saying when she was younger, people used to ask her if she was black or white. My wife has like a very tan skin. And she was like, people used to ask her all the time. And we, with our back and forth conversations, you know, when you're young, it's just like people trying to, ask you these questions to put you into a box. And when I thought about it and deep and with my understanding of things now, I'm like, this is really, people have to do that to you. And the reason why they have to do it is because they've already been presented a box of about how if you identify one way, they're going to put you into this box. And if you identify this other way, they're going to put you into this box. Now, here's the crazy thing. That box, everything in that box is already determined. So let's just go off of what my wife and I were talking about. They were asking if she was black or white. Now, not knowing anything else about her, just asking that question. And there were black people that would ask her that question too. So I'm not just saying it was white people only that would ask her. It was black people that was also asking her. And so this is the reason why, and you need to pay attention. And if you can, grab a pen and paper or something to take some notes, because this is going to show you how your thought processes are developed. So now, why would someone who doesn't really know anyone walk up to them, even if it's off of a small bit of conversation, ask that individual, are you black or white? The reason why is because they have to put you into a box. They had to put my wife into a box. So now inside of that box, so this is the person asking the question. So whatever box they put her in off of her answer, there are already predetermined things about what they think about those people in that box. Already predetermined. So now when they put them into that box, they start to build what's off of their predetermined thought process of what they think a black person is, what they think a white person is, without even knowing the person, without even getting to know them at all. It's already predetermined. So now let me ask you this. Where would that individual get that information about what's predetermined? Would they get it from their family, their friends, what they see in the news, all the different stuff in newspapers? You know, I'm just asking you this question. If someone is black or white to you, where from all of the stuff that you've gathered over life, just think, where did you get all that information from? And then if it's a negative or a positive thought about that individual or about that race, what amount of information did you have to get to make that determination? Was it like 5 news reports and 5 family members? Was it 5 news reports, 5 family members, and 5 newspaper articles? Was it 5 family members, 5 news reports, 5 newspaper reports, and 5 internet posts or videos? What was it? How much stuff was it? Was it a lot of stuff? Was it a little stuff? Because that's how people, they'll say these types of words. Well, all black people are this way, or all white people are this way. People will actually say that, and they're getting that because they have this determination box, this identification box that has all of this stuff from other information that went into their head, and when it went into their head, it went into what they thought about these people. It doesn't matter. It's their choice of how much information that they got to build that determination, to build that identification of what that person tells them their race is. Now, let's flip that to the other side, because this was that person's choice. No one is taking away their choice. If that's what you want to think about, though, about black people or white people, that's your choice. However much stuff it took for you to get to that determination, that is your choice. But let's flip that. Now, what about my wife on this side here? What if she asked you that same question, and then let's just say it only took her one thing? So whatever answer you gave, and she don't need 5 or 10 or 20 things like that. She just goes off of one thing. So she says, this is what I think of people who are black. This is what I think of people who are white. And it only came from one thing. Maybe it just came from my parents. Now, some people will say, well, that's not fair. Well, that's not fair. Well, that's the part that I want you to think about. Is it's not about how much or how little. What I want you to focus on is this right here. Is how you, let me get this pen to work here. How did you even come up with all of this stuff in here? Where did that stuff come from? Because this is the same information that is used, the same process that is used for when you try to start to go out there to do business, when you try to become successful. Because instead of talking about what's race, let's get rid of the race stuff. Let's just talk about business. And we don't even have to have 2 boxes. We don't need 2 boxes. We got 1 box. Where, when it comes to businesses, comes to the information that you've received about business, where did that information come from? Did it come from people who have no idea of what it takes to be successful in business? Now, I know you've heard words like, it takes money to make money. You know, some people have heard a rich man, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven, you know, or the eye of a needle than it is to get into heaven. Like all of these different things that you've heard. And you've heard them over time, and how much of that stuff is actually even true? Or how much is it just people saying things off of the same, going through the same process that I just gave you for the example about black and white, where it's just passed down. And this information isn't even true. And one of the things that I've always said, the easiest way to know if information is factual and true is how is it serving you? Is it turning you into something that you don't like about yourself? Like, can you look at yourself in the mirror and offer the things that you're eating up from people and the way that you're treating people and the way that you're treating yourself and the beliefs that you have, if it's about business, if it's about people, what is that stuff doing to you? Do you like yourself? Because this is what can make people not like themselves. You cannot like yourself. Let's just say that you're trying to be in business. You're trying to make money. You're trying to increase your revenue for your business, or you're trying to start a business. You're trying to change the life of your family, and you're not getting anywhere. And you're thinking that if I spend money here with this person and here with that person, start this franchise, start this business, get into real estate, all of that stuff, you reach all over the place. It's like you're going into a store and you're trying to get all of this fast food business opportunity stuff to do something with your life, when it all starts on the inside. It comes from the inside about what you think. And I just ran through how you can understand in another way when I just related it to race. But the thing about it is that the thought process comes to all of us the same way. From my own family, there were people who thought that they were giving me good information, good advice. But when I turned around and I looked and I just thought, you don't even have a business, you work for somebody. I've started a company and I'm working for myself. So why would I take any information from you? I appreciate it. I love you as a family member, but I would not take any advice from you. And that goes back to what I was telling you here. How much information are you getting from other people, outside sources, and it's just building up on you and you're making those decisions. And then I said my wife only had she could look at one thing, or not her, but I'm just saying that for the example, one thing and then make a determination. So it doesn't matter if you have a whole bunch of stuff for one thing. The thought process is the same. So what we have to do is we have to start understanding what is building the thought process, and then start to break down to say, is that thought process good for me? Because what most people do is they just take the information in, go out and spend money and think that the information is information. When it's from the inside, I look at the information, I break down the information. Is that information good for me? Is that information that I'm getting going to get me to the next step? That's what you have to do. And it does take work. I'm not going to be here to tell you that this stuff is easy, because every time the brain is very lazy. The human mind is very lazy. So the best way to get to where you want to be is to understand the thought processes, do the hard work, and then you get used. The way the human mind works is that it gets used to the harder way of thinking. So if you have to run through a thought process, get everything in order, sit down, write some stuff out on a piece of paper, do it over and over and over and over again, guess what? The human mind steps up and says, okay, this is what we consider easy now. But other people, and even yourself, your old self, would be like, that's hard. How can you do all of that? But it's easy for you because you got used to it. The human mind is lazy in a sense of when you train it and you get it used to doing the new thing that you thought was hard, it thinks that the new thing that you thought was hard is easy. And then everybody else is looking at you and saying, how do you do all of that? People ask me all the time, me and my wife, how can you run 4 businesses? I have too much with working for a company and raising my family and taking care of all of the bills. And they say, how can you do that? So they don't even have the understanding of it. They're just taking what they've done from that thought process that they already had, putting it into a box of what they thought business was about, without even having any understanding about what business is about. You can run 4 businesses because you have employees at all the businesses. because you put processes in place for the business to run on its own without you. And it took me years to even get to that step, because when I started my first company, I had it so hugged up like a baby because I didn't want no one to mess it up. But the day that I started delegating out to people was the day that I started making even more money, but also getting my time back. To be able to make this video for you, and I'm here in my office, employees are gonna be coming in over the next hour. I have time freedom. They can come in and I can walk away and go straight home, and everything is gonna remain the same. If I chose to do that, everything would still run. That's how you run 4 businesses. But you can't do that. If you can't even have that understanding in your mind if you already had what you've seen from other people, what you've heard from other people, what you saw in the news, what you saw on the internet, and all of that stuff wasn't true. It's just going to be put into that box, and you're just going to play that record like it was true. And just like we know, when you don't know somebody, so let's go back to our first example. When you don't know somebody, you don't really know anything about them. Post your questions and comments, like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams here on YouTube.